I'm Scott Benjamin with Fun Spot Manufacturing. Welcome to Tuesday Town Hall, the Adventure Park podcast. We're glad you're here with us today. Today I have guest Kyle Stremme with HOWND. Kyle, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me, Scott.
Yeah, great to see you. All decked out in your Pacific Northwest gear.
Al Borland in the flesh.
Shout out. That's awesome. Well, Kyle and I met a couple of years ago back when I was an operator, and I kind of want to set up today's time with a little bit of history and story. And that is when I was an operator, and I shared this a couple episodes ago as we started thinking about hiring, recruiting, hiring, and training young people. I said the two things that were the most challenging for me were doing that, recruiting, training, and hiring young people. And two was marketing. I came from more of a franchise retail, corporate retail environment where I just had to be a good operator. And so when I was in the environment where, I'm just wearing every single hat, that marketing hat was really challenging to figure out how to take a brand from zero to where people understood what it was. And there's no shortage of marketers out there who would be happy to help me figure that out. And my inbox and voicemail box were constantly full. And I'm sure if you're an operator, you can relate to the pitches that you get regularly from different marketing companies. I had to learn what SEO and PPC and XYZ and all these different terms were and how to use them, and what Facebook ad strategies were compared to boosting a post, and just all kinds of different things. And so what I decided to do was I would take and talk with one pitch a week. I'd give them, 45 minutes to an hour, and I'd listen and I'd jot down notes and I'd try and find one action item that I could go back without paying those guys anything and implement. And so I did that on a number of occasions. And one of those was with a company called FetchRev, which is now HOWND. And Kyle has been through the transition. And maybe we can hear a little bit about that in a moment. But I listened to what their pitch was, and I was like, okay, I can do this one thing. And so I tried it and realized I couldn't do it very well, but I felt like it had the most potential. And so eventually I ran back into Kyle at an amusement expo in Las Vegas, and he described for me in the most succinct and approachable way what the value proposition of what then was FetchRev and is now HOWND was. And for $99 a month, I could have it. And it all just kind of came together. And so that was the beginning of my relationship with Kyle and the services that they offer. And I'm a big fan, and I continue to be. So for those that are looking to increase revenue in their parks, and that is because it worked. And so throughout the course of our time together, we'll kind of talk about what those things are. But Kyle, you're on the front end of retail and talking with people, not only in the FEC industry, trampoline parks, adventure parks, but restaurants and all that. So you have a pretty good bird's eye view of what's happening across the country. So I thought maybe we would just start by just kind of getting your take on where we are as a kind of a retail industry.
As a retail industry, yeah, it's broad. It's crazy. Across the board, it depends, as we all know, based off which state we're in and then which county. And then it's by industry, right? Having the ability to look at, retail as well as, entertainment, and then the health and beauty, and everybody has different regulations. You have conversations with, owners of Supercuts franchises, for example, and what they're going through. You imagine, the FEC, we have to pivot as an industry. And I say we, because FEC is the most dear to my heart, right, of any industry. And I think we all fell in love with this industry. But when you have a conversation, it's really interesting across the board. Everybody's trying to pivot and everybody's trying to cope with it. And to give you an example, it correlates to FECs. Would be, let's take almost like I don't want to call them quick service to a degree, like Supercuts as an example. Normally not something you would book in advance. Normally that's you show up and you get your cut. And for me, it was always, I'll take anybody. I just want to get in. I was never much of a, this is my stylist, that just wasn't me.
Yeah.
And you've migrated to now, you can't even sit in the waiting room, right? And as for example, those owners are trying to figure out, well, how do we let people book before we've never, it's always been walk-in only. And how
Mhm.
do we pivot as fast as we can to abide by the guidelines and health and safety, but also for the convenience of our customers? And you've got people waiting in their cars before they can come in, and then you pivot that in the FEC industry, and it's very similar in a way. A lot of FECs are walk-in. If you take out the trampoline parks, right, which people will book jump time, but a lot of people walk in and they stand in line, in trying to handle the capacity, the ebbs and flows,
Mhm.
and navigate that. And even in the restaurant industry, I mean, everybody chat, the restaurant industry, if you're a pure restaurant, as we all know, you've seen the big pivot into takeout and pickup and delivery, right? As they're trying to survive.
Yeah.
And you've seen even large FECs do the same thing, right? Like some of the larger FECs that have a really nice restaurant that they can put that out there.
Yeah.
Or in the way of Chuck E. Cheese, right? I believe they rebranded. They called them. I wish I could remember. It's so embarrassing. They're not calling it Chuck E. Cheese, and they're showing up as a pizza takeout, right? They rebranded it.
Why wouldn't they? You
Yeah,
know?
well, yeah, right. And people don't even know it's Chuck E. Cheese, and you're getting pizzas delivered from Chuck E. Cheese, and it has some other name on it. I mean, people are, across the board, we're pivoting. There's a really great technology out there. Now is it very valuable? Yes. For me as an individual, human being, I can't afford it personally. It's called Placer. I think it's Placer.ai. And the reason I bring it up is they have a fantastic blog if anybody's interested, and they follow the retail industry. And what they do is they can track month over month, year over year foot traffic trends,
Mhm.
and they know that by just installing into an app on your phone. It's kind of creepy, but they have 8% of the United States. They know where you go all the time, and
Wow.
and anonymously they can tell you how many people were in this business versus this business,
Mhm.
measure you versus your competition. And they've been doing a lot of really insightful things, talking about what's happened to the dollar store, versus your Walmarts versus your Targets versus your from a retail center standpoint. So I don't want to go too far
Yeah,
off the cuff
that's a
here,
big
but
goal, but I think you bring up a good point. I think data analytics or data analytics, depending on probably where you're from, data analytics is really important. Probably always has been, but I think as an FEC and as trampoline park owners and adventure park owners and FECs, we probably haven't used it as much as we could have to really make positive decisions. One of the questions I get as a manufacturer is, well, what's the favorite attraction out there? And we just don't have good technology ways of determining whether it's the wipeout or the zip line, or is it really the main court where kids just let the jump. And that's because we don't have technology embedded in any of that at this point yet. We are starting to partner with some people, Valo Motion, Rugged Interactive, VR studios, that are technology embedded into interaction. And so those guys, I can call up Valo today and say, how many people jumped on the units that we have installed in Fun Spot Parks, and they can tell me. And it's just hard to compare that to things that aren't connected. But I say all that to say that yes, the more analytics that we can get to really understand the decisions we need to make and the pivots that we need to do are really important. And I think when we start talking about the offer that we'll have at the end of this podcast with Fun Spot and Hound, I think it'll begin to start to make sense, I think, for operators.
yeah, and data again, if it's voluntary, like to your point, right? When you're talking about getting the data from the games, as far as I know, primarily it's voluntary, right? It's operators agreeing collectively to submit their numbers, right?
Mhm.
And I've seen some aggregates of that where they kind of rank different games.
Mhm.
But I love that idea, being able to automatically pull that data, right? Even anonymously, so that we
Yeah.
have a clear picture on
Yeah.
what we're buying, right? And the types of values and the ROIs that we're driving. That's great. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I
fantastic.
mean, I'd love to be able to say that, hey, the wipeout, gets, 80%, playtime, over the course of your week. why don't you put in a second one? And, that's kind of where I'm beginning to think through, and how do I help operators, and how do I embed technology that'll help them make those kinds of purchasing decisions? So yeah, data analytics, big stuff.
Big, big world, man. Yeah. Yeah, and I love that intro. I mean, honestly, it was really fun how we got connected in the beginning. You're
Yeah,
at the end of the day, just as well as in this industry, it's so great. You end up you want to sell to the person that you're working, but you really what you want to do is you want to help them, right? Because everybody's just good people. Everybody's good people. And when I see you, I'm like, Scott, I just want to help you, man. I want to empower you with something that can help make your life better.
yeah.
And yeah, as we go through it, that was actually at that FE at that amusement. Was it amusement attractions? What was it? Amusement Expo?
It's amusement in Vegas. Yeah, 3 or 4 years ago, probably.
I remember that. That was actually when, as Fetch Rev, we were pivoting and trying to really discover. Like, I'd been working with a bunch of FECs, and we had been moving from being quite a few different industries into kind of targeting and doubling down in the FEC industry.
Right.
And that, for me, when I was talking to you in that succinct fashion about just automating birthday party outreach and doing claims versus book nows, that day it was with Phil, right? Phil was there too. And that for me was actually a big clicking point for me, right? As I was like, you know what? The biggest value prop that we can help these operators with is automating the thing that's driving a tremendous amount of value for them, right?
Mhm.
Taking it off their plate and then improving upon it. And that's what we ended up leading with. And it was also this mentality of, you don't have to buy everything. You don't have to do everything that we offer. Let's start. Let us build some trust with you. Let's take this one thing that provides value and automate it. Let's look at the data, and then let's expand from there, right? And let's make data driven decisions.
Mhm.
If you're generating results, continue doing it. If you're not, pivot, change, but you should at least have the visibility on what's working.
Yeah, and I think that's it. It really clicked for me as well. I was like, I don't need to buy the $4.99 a month suite of products that are out there. That's not my only option. And I think as you guys learned, and as you said, really kind of came to understand that there's a better way of explaining it and getting that elevator pitch. It kind of snowballed, I think, and got from Fetch Rev to Hound, and really added value to a lot. And I know, I surf a lot of trampoline park, adventure park websites, and I see the pop up. So I mean, I know they're working with you guys, and so it's clearly adding value and putting money in people's pockets. So that's great. And it's one of the things did want to ask you again, because you kind of have a broader view of what's happening across the country, and that is, for the operators that you're seeing having some levels of success, and maybe they're hitting their percentage availability of opening that they're allowed to in their section. What are some of the things that you see that they're doing well?
So before I start diving into specifically what they're doing, and just quick preparation after you and I had talked and you said, hey, hop on this thing, right? Like to share some of your thoughts. As I did a little bit of research, and I'm sure you're reading the same research. I think it was just, was it in, I'm terrible with names here, but what was that? What's the magazine? Is it
Fun World,
Fun World?
There's a couple of
What's the
publications.
other one?
There's one's Intercard. There's IAPA is Fun World.
One of those magazines, one of those publications, I just read it this morning. It just came out, right? And I was flipping through the pages. Sorry, sorry for not plugging whoever's magazine. It's all good stuff, right? Everybody's trying to help. But they're doing surveys, right? And so this is where, unfortunately, I don't think it's always the best data. It's the only data that's available, which is why, honestly, what you're working on, where you're trying to get that data, natively to be pulled, I think is going to be the clearest picture. But right now, we're just trying to continue to take customer sentiment, right, and figure out as this virus, right, as this pandemic is evolving, as each county and is moving forward and backwards. I mean, it's really hard to be prescriptive on what works, and we've been struggling with this. I'd say 5 months ago, it was, for the most part, everybody was closed, right? 6 months ago, everybody was closed. And what it was, hey, we're getting through this, right? And if you'd like to support us in a way, right, you buy it now and play later, right, once we reopen. And that was really the guidance. We raised a tremendous amount of revenue for family entertainment centers and businesses across the board. I think we crossed 3.5 million when businesses were closed in those first 2 months, where it was really hard. And that was money that, that was in the form of like a traditional gift card or an offering. Put it out there, enable people to support you. And what we found during that phase was operators, everybody was like, we don't know what to do. Like, we don't even know what to message. And I think we've all scrambled there. And it was really, let people support you. If you don't put it out there, it's almost like if you don't build it, people won't come. If you don't put out any kind of a messaging around enabling people to buy now when you open, here's this, it's almost value in the later. It's almost like they called them Baker bonds
Right.
traditionally, right? Where you could pay $10, you got $10.10 at the end of the month, right? And it was like, support us now, give us some cash flow, and we'll support you later.
And the public wanted to. They had their favorite places that they loved to go. They were, disappointed that they couldn't. They wanted them to be there when they got back. And so I think, going back to kind of best practices, that was one. People who gave people the opportunity to support really
Yeah.
are coming out ahead at this day and age.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, so that was kind of the messaging in the beginning. Hey, we're going to come back, right? We'll be open. Don't worry, we'll be here. And if you want to support us, and it's basically buy now, play later, and that resonated really well. As the months went on, it started to get a little bit more depressing, and it depended on which part of the country you're in. I was just talking with Revved Up Fun here just last week, and they're out of Michigan, I think, just south of Detroit. And they closed his center until 2 weeks ago. He's
Wow.
been closed the entire summer, and so, like, depending on where you are, some states were opening right away,
Yeah.
right, and it wasn't a big of a deal. And so your messaging really just pivots on where you are. And then we look at today, the messaging during this middle phase was really about, we're open, let people know, or we'll be opening soon, right? Like, because the guidance was up and down, as we all know. It was more about just transparency, showing things like we're cleaning. I've heard some of your talks. I've been to some of the town halls. It's just about letting people know that, hey, we're a clean facility.
Yep.
We're taking this seriously. We've got the hand sanitizer. We're ready for you when you come back, right? We've got the screens up. It's happening. And it was more of just about customer awareness and leading with that more than it was packages and promotions and discounts, because it was more of that wait and see period. As we're seeing this industry open back up, and we'll see what's happening. I mean, just in New York, as we saw, right? I mean, they closed a whole bunch of counties again, right? Just right at the cusp of reopening, they're closing them. Denver's moving their phases. So this is a work in progress. But I think today, to just answer you as long as possible, and we'll see if your editors are good and they cut it all up.
Okay.
But what we're seeing today is back to I don't remember the magazine, right, that I got this from, Statistics.
We'll look it up in the show notes.
We'll look it up and we'll put it in. But it's also, it varies. So what you see is it says factors most likely to motivate travelers to visit attractions, right, to come back in. And so I've got one study here. QR and PGAV destinations was the source. And they say factors most likely to motivate travelers to visit attractions. And the number one thing that they put on there was 31%, which is discounts, some kind of value add. I hate the term discounts. I mean, I personally do. A lot of business owners cringe at the idea, like, listen, we're already kind of hurting here. Do we really want to bust into our margins even more?
Yeah.
I would structure that as more of a package, more of even a perceived value add, more than I would just straight discount.
Yeah. Talked about that last week, Patrick, and Mountain Air. Keep that price
always,
that value.
Yep. Perceived value is a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's a main driver when you're looking at driving people who aren't comfortable, right? To get them to come in, to get them to move the needle. Right behind it was new rules to protect me at 29%. Right there by itself, that's 60% of the respondents are some kind of a package, some kind of a promotion, and then also make them feel comfortable at the same time. You got 12% here. It says, what makes your attraction different, right? New exhibit or more experience that you have, right? So when you pair all those things together, the recipe would be some kind of a package, some kind of perceived value add, subtle. We're protecting you. We've got that covered, right? And you've probably been doing that all summer anyway. So just make sure you reiterate. Not only are you going to have a great experience, and then package that with some kind of a new attraction. It's not going to go away, as I'm sure you talk about this all the time. If you just stay stagnant and you offer the same old thing in this new evolving world, and it was already competitive, it was already hard before we went into this,
Yeah.
you can't expect a different outcome coming out the other end. And so as hard as it is, invest in, this is a time to invest in some of those new experiences, pairing it up with that value add and the perceived sanitation, right? And precautions that you're taking, so that you're taking it seriously. And I think you come out on the other end, right? And that was one study. The other study, it said, I believe it was key factors, and this was a study done by LAI Games, and they said 24 respondents, I don't know what the questions were, where new games or attractions would represent the single most influential incentive. So at 24% of the respondents.
Yeah.
And then it's also, guess what the second one is? It's, making people feel comfortable. It's making people feel comfortable. And so if you can package those things together, that's working the best. If, tactically, what we've seen, if people don't know, really what we are is we're an offering generator, right? So it doesn't have to be a discount, but we take your packages that you're already offering today, we put them in a, bar none, the easiest way to say yes to it online, right? So it's one click, no sign up, no login, no remember passwords, no determine when. You say yes now, and then you determine when you want to come in after. And so what we're seeing, and what we're seeing the operators that are doing the best, is consistent messaging that tick the box. We're following precautions. There's some kind of a value add or package
Mhm.
or promotion that can bring guests in to make them feel good and they want to come in and spend money. It doesn't have to be a big package up front, as long as you have a good strategy once you get them in order to upsell them
Yeah.
or sell them in person, kind of a thing. But you got to get them in the door. You got to make them feel comfortable. And so that's been the general, if I could say, overarching guidance that I could provide in the now. And then we could also talk about the planning for the future, as we talk to so many different operators and that kind of what they're planning to hit the holidays, and how it looks in relation to what it's always looked like.
Yeah. And one of the things you and I talked about a couple of days ago as we planned for this was, we're what, 3 weeks away from Thanksgiving. I don't know, maybe a month. I mean, it's here. I mean, you're dressed for it, Thanksgiving. And that kind of hits the gift giving, it's all, gets us geared up in our minds that it's time to kind of prepare for the holidays. And so the process that Hound has for making that so easy, and that is getting gift cards purchased is I mean, you just kind of talked about it, but I'd like you to just dive a little deeper in it, because that's really, at the end of this, that's what we want to be able to offer those that are listening, is just a very easy way to promote gift cards in their park. That's a single purchase from the website. Not a lot of hoopla to go through, and then they can redeem it on the backside. So maybe kind of fill that in a little bit.
Yeah. So if talking specifically gift cards, let's just talk best practice,
Yeah.
whether you're using us or anybody, right? What we've seen, and what is fact at this point is you need to, and what we find, and this is businesses all across the board, large footprint businesses. I don't want to call anybody out specifically, but like you'll see, what's most important is that people know that you're offering. Let's say as we head into the holidays, gift cards are a big deal, right? They always have been, right? Gift giving, we've got, you got your Black Friday, your Cyber Monday, you've got the holiday season coming up. People are already looking for it. We already had Prime Day. I mean, that already happened, what, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Target, everybody's fast followed. People are hitting those early.
Yep.
This guy came from REI. They just had some kind of a promotion that ended this weekend, right? And I was like, I want to look like Al. got my flannel, right? But and I got what their promotion was clear and it was easy. I get 10% cash back at the in a week, and then I get my dividend whatever next year, right? And that was REI's play. That
Mhm.
totals 20% off. It got me, even times of crisis and uncertainty in the market. I went out and bought a flannel. Is that a need? Some would argue yes, right? But for me, or a nice to have,
And
but
it,
it got me moving.
and I gotta believe it's not a 9.99 final either.
No, no, that's not a
Right.
9.99 flannel, man. This
Yeah.
is one I wear every single day. Okay. This is an everyday wear. It's almost like my jacket. No, so a long-winded answer there, but what's important is it's got to be clear. People have to know that you're offering them.
Yeah.
It has to be clear. It has to be attractive. So here's the other thing. You can offer full price gift cards. We've been doing it for the last 8 years, right? Just so everybody knows, we've got data to back it up. We've let operators across the board, across industries, run their own offerings. Just offering gift cards at full price value is totally possible, but it does not perform very well, right? If you're looking at it, you're trying to get people in the door.
Mhm.
Things that do work and has traditionally worked, as we've always seen, is let's say you buy a 25 and you get a $5 free, right? 25 gets you 30, right? 50 gets you 60, right? And then so you stare it up and you give
Those,
people a
those
couple of different
convert.
options
Those convert better than just a straight dollar for dollar gift card.
and you give them options, right? So you move them towards the buying the bigger values, and you know that when somebody comes in your facility, they don't just come in and use, if it's 25, they're not only spending $25 in your facility, right? Especially if they're bringing some friends and family or their play pod or their shelter in place crew or whoever it is. They're going to, hey, let's all go, right? And they'll come and they'll buy drinks and they'll come in and experience it. Or all those people who are nervous about coming in, but they do love your facility. They've been there, but they're not quite comfortable. This gives them an easy way to buy it now and play it later type of opportunity. And so I would say the biggest problem that I see is lack of awareness that you're even offering a gift card or even like a promotional or a value added gift card. And the reason I say that is people don't think, hey, I'm trying to find a gift for my friend or my family. People are moving towards wanting to support experience gifts. They don't want to do the material. And
Yeah.
this has been trending up and up and up. Personally, our family, we give each other experiences. We go on a trip together instead of giving each other Al Borland flannels.
Mhm.
So it's important to let people know that this is an option, and you're not going to be top of mind. People aren't going to think, oh, what should I get him? They're going to be thinking about it in the back of their head. They could visit your website, wondering if you're open, looking for a birthday party, wanting to see if this is a great experience. And then they see gift cards, right? Give the gift of experience this holiday when everybody knows you need it. Um, all of a sudden, when they're thinking about, maybe I'll give them a gift card to REI, right? Or I'll give them a gift card to Amazon, or I'll give them a gift card, um, or I'll buy them some random thing that I don't think they're going to care about. Like you're trying to give gifts, but you don't know, and you're in a rush. If you just put yourself out there with that awareness, it's going to make a big difference. And so, to your point, the plugin, what we've seen work really well. It's a banner that overlays in front of your website on top of it. It's not a pop-up. It's completely SEO friendly, so it's not going to hurt you at all in your rankings. Everything's been certified. It's actually certified for the Disability Act as well. So it's a great option. And then again, if you're not looking for a gift card, it's really easy to go ahead and migrate over to the right hand side so you can't see it anymore. But what it does is it checks the box of awareness. And when you see, because we can track the amount of people, raw visitors who've hit your website,
Yep.
and then the amount that click on it and show interest, you're going to get a big uptick in the amount of people that even know that it's available, right? And so I would say the plugin, you can have it on the top, you can put it in the middle or in the bottom.
Mhm.
So you can have a couple of different ways. It can show up only the first time you visit the website. It can show up every single time. Bar none, if you put the plugin on your site, you've checked the box of awareness. So if you don't use our plugin, make sure that you're using something to make it front and foremost, right? So that people know that you're offering. The next box you need to check is you got to make it attractive. give them some kind of a value add. Full price gift cards are okay. And depending on the venue, some can get away with it. We see the mark at about a 20%. People don't want to hear it. They want to say, I want to do maybe 10%.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I just saw an example, a big known operator, and I think they were giving away something like a $4.99 little gift or something when you spend over $25 or more. I didn't see a lot, personally, I didn't see a lot of perceived value in it, right? So if it's not attractive, people aren't going to move. They're not going to move from seeing it to clicking on it to actually buying and converting.
Yeah. Yeah. Making it easy is, yeah. And I think you mentioned this, you can do it yourself. And I certainly tried, for my very first year to do everything I could myself, but realize there's reason and there's value in partnering with those that have kind of nailed it down. They've tested their process. They understand what graphics pop, what offers are the best. And I can think I might know better, but I've learned to trust those that I partner with. And when I see good results, I want to let other people know. And so, that brings us here. And I just think that the opportunity, today, this week, next week, to connect and at least start asking some questions of Hound about how you can partner with your facility. And this goes, again, it's not only trampoline parks, adventure parks, traditional FECs, arcades, and then you service health and beauty restaurants. So if there's people that you have in your life that that are local mom and pops. I mean, I did read a statistic in one of these papers, and there's doom and gloom, and then there's hope, and this particular one was pretty doomy and gloomy about mom and pop restaurants. A very high percentage of them failing by the end of next year, and I think there's things we can do to mitigate against that, and awareness and is one of them. Just simply doing the next best thing for your entrepreneur, restaurant, or FEC.
Yeah, and you see it across the board. I mean, there's a lot of support your local business, buy local, right? You'll see almost grassroots efforts. That's fantastic. I mean, it's really. I mean, I find myself all the time, even if my wife, for example, is nervous, right? She is. She's got a little bit more. She's more nervous than I am personally, and I respect that. The way that I found, because I'm in, full on love and I support small business owners as much as I can, is I'll go and we'll do the takeout at restaurants. I go and I buy gift cards from the places that I don't feel comfortable going now, but I will frequent in the future as a way to show them like, hey, I want to support you. I don't want you to be gone. I don't want this to be just a private equity sweep, and I don't want your landlords closing you down and reopening with somebody else, for pennies on the dollar. Like, these stories rip my heart out.
Yeah.
And so we all see it, right? As vendors, we all talk about, and we swap these stories, and it's heart-wrenching when you hear these stories. And our industry as a whole, like one thing that I love about Hound, just not only have I been here forever, but like one of the biggest things that I love is that our mantra is really, it's all about helping small business owners. And it's that do no evil, do everything you can to support them, and put your money where your mouth is, and so we've got different campaigns. The first and foremost is just education and awareness. Put a plug-in on your website, sell gift cards this holiday season. It will work. It will work. No, you can't just do that. Should you tap your local marketer, your SEM marketer, your Google AdWords marketer, your social media marketer? You need to drive people to your website, right, in order to convert more of them. That's part of the equation. It's impressions, clicks, and conversions. But you're already getting a lot of organic traffic. And if you're not putting up a sign that says I'm open, right, or you can do business with me, you're not gonna get that business.
Yeah.
It's just the way that it is. Yeah, it's the way that works.
Yeah. So that, I mean, and then, as I kind of talked about when I first connected with you guys, we started with one thing, and then there's a suite of products that, a birthday party drip campaigns, again, things that you could do your own, on your own. And I tried on my own, cutting and pasting, exporting out of my point of sale, and creating lists, and all that stuff that's super automated. through Hound. So as birthday parties begin to pick back up, again, that's something that operators could talk to you guys about what that drip campaign looks like, and how easy it is for people to claim birthday parties rather than going down and having to pick the day they need to do it, the time and all that. They can buy now, birthday party later kind of situations, which was a really success for us.
Yeah. Yeah. So you take the same formula: clear, right?
Yep.
Attractive and easy.
Yeah.
If you don't know what's there, it's not, it's not gonna, if it's not attractive, it's not gonna happen. If it's not easy, it's not gonna happen. And really what you have to do is we found this out easy in the health and beauty industry. Elements Massage, for example, 240 or so locations. If you go to any of their websites, you're gonna see the plugin on there.
Mhm.
And what it's done is it's transformed. They have the ability to sell gift cards. Yes, their point of sale system does. Most do, right? Most e-commerce, there's a dime a dozen gift cards. It's nothing hidden, right? You should absolutely sell gift cards online if you're not already. It was making it clear and attractive, overlaying it on top of their website, and making it fundamentally easier than their native system was. And we moved them from gift cards was the biggest thing for their entire year, and we put it front and foremost. And we migrated them from 99% of their gift cards were sold in person
Wow.
to, right? Like, imagine that, right? 99%. And most operators do that still today. They're only selling them we sell them, we offer them. There's a difference between offering gift cards and promoting them. And so when you shift and you promote it across the board, 14% uplift in sales, right? In gift cards across the board. And over 30% happened online. That's a big shift. And that's a huge brand. And all we did was make it clear and attractive and easy. And then by the same component, and this translates to birthday parties. If I'm I've been talking through different ways of telling this story, but if I'm hanging out, I'm a dad in normal times, and I'm busy, I'm at work, and I get an email from your FEC. Let's say, Scott, you put together an email and you said, hey, your son's birthday's coming up, because you manually exported a list and you sent an email to all the parents who've got a birthday coming up in the next 45 days, 30 days. And I see it, I'm like, oh, cool. Yeah, my kid's birthday is coming up, right? Like, this happens all the time. And you know what the call to action is? Book it right now. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not booking this right now. I don't have time.
Yep.
At best, I hit unread, and I save you in some mechanism so that you don't get lost in the shuffle of 1,000 other emails I'm getting that day.
At best.
At best,
Yeah.
right? Most people just, oh, that's nice. And then I forget. And then I'm talking about Desmond's birthday, 10 days from now with my wife, and I don't remember anything. And like, it's just taking that behavior and saying, well, look, Kyle's got a son, his Desmond's birthday's coming up. Look at this. Your local FEC is offering this birthday party, and we're going to throw in, bubble party on top of it for free. Right? We're going to add these in there for free. Claim it. Let us know if you're interested or not. Right? Just claim this, because it's going to expire.
Yep.
And then I can say, yeah, you know what? Maybe this could be something. And then, 7 days later, it reminds me and says, hey, this is going to expire. You're still thinking about having a birthday party with us. And it's just it's easy, it's native. It changed the decision from do it right now, have all your decisions ready, to maybe in the future. And just by changing the call to action and doing some follow-up, you're still going to have them book through your booking system. That's still needing to happen.
Right.
But in setting this up in an automated fashion, all you have to say is yes, and you're going to book more parties. And we've seen it statistically time and time again. I mean, we're seeing 20%, 30% uplifts in conversions off these same tactics by just changing the messaging. And so it's all about clear, attractive, and easy. You want to see what Hound, like you talk about Hound, if you talk about how we can help this holiday and how we're helping people that are using us across the board. Number one, website plugin, put it on your website. Number two, people are coming into your entertainment center. They're visiting. You're most likely offering guest Wi-Fi for free anyway, but you're twofold. Either if I'm a trampoline park, for example, I've got you signed on a waiver. Data collection isn't a big deal for me.
Yeah.
If I'm a bowling center, right, skating rink, multi-attraction facility that doesn't require waivers, getting customer data is super important. Knowing when kids' birthdays are helps me fuel to be able to sell more gift cards in the future and promote throughout the year. It's much more cost effective.
Right.
Either way, I'm going to trigger, did you know we offer gift cards? So as soon as somebody goes into your FEC, they want to get access to free Wi-Fi, it auto redirects right to your gift card promotion that's on your website. Just awareness helps. And within 1 to 3 days after visiting, an automated messaging targeting them to come back within the next 30 days. Because getting the people who have already frequented you and they already feel comfortable, those people are gold. There's only, there's only so many of them that are out there that are willing to do it. And there's so many people trying to draw their attention. So give them something to come back in as a bounce back. The Wi-Fi component is a nice extension of the website plugin. And then again, I would say we've seen this with COVID even more so as restaurants, as if you're offering food, if you're doing takeout, if you're doing private events and parties, bag stuffers, for example, digitizing those. So what we've seen is you can take a postcard, put a QR code on it, which is a fancy way of take a picture of it, and you get a digital offering. And what you do is you're, in his example, Hooters is a customer of ours. They're finding out when people are doing wing takeouts, they're just putting a little bag stuffer with a QR code in order to capture data on those consumers and drive them in with frequency. That
Yeah.
applies really well tactically for family entertainment centers. And so what you do is you clear, attractive, easy across the board. Those are 3 easy tactical ways where you can help your FEC through the holidays in order to help you come out on the other end as close to last year as you were. I just heard a great success story where they just opened and opened up again. This is a Michigan story. He said, I was anticipating being 30% of my revenue, right, for the rest of this year. That's what I pegged myself at. First year or first week they were open, 28%. Second, I think it was like 35 or 40%. Third week, 70%.
Beautiful.
There is light at the end of the tunnel. Those kind of stories warm my heart. I think we're going to get through it. You can land, you can take the cool thing about Hound, I don't want to go on forever here, but it's take tactics and proven playbooks, and you don't have to do it all, but do at least one of them. And if you trust it, if you like it, you can do more, right? So our platform isn't, here's $500 in software, use it or not. It's use what you want, pay only when it works.
Yep.
So that's been our big shift, and I'm really proud to work at a company like this.
Now, and I've spent the last almost a year in this role of really helping kind of develop a turnkey process for operators, and that is really vetting, using my experience and others' experiences to find the best in class, and so you don't have to go find them. I mean, there's lots of options, and I'm happy and proud to partner with you guys and present Hound to FunSpot customers, and those that are we've gotten so many new friends, I'll say, from doing the Tuesday Town Hall and then converting it into this podcast that follow us. I was on a 30-minute phone call with a guy who's never bought one thing from me yesterday. But he's saw a recent podcast and want to talk and ask some questions, and maybe next year he'll buy something from me, and so there's value there, and so we want to again help the small businesses and add value, and so you and I talked, we decided that there was something that we could do to kind of help people easily take a next step with Hound, with the plug-in on the gift card, and so talk about that briefly, and then we'll have a link in our show notes and in the email that presents this podcast.
Yeah. So, it's really important, right? And Scott, I mean, you're one of the many, right, people in this industry that are looking to provide value first, right, and the sale later, right? We all know if we don't support each other now, we don't support our industry, that there's a threat out there, right? It's looming over everybody. And so we're all trying to, all hands on deck, trying to refer each other to solutions that can help them. And so when we're talking through this, Hound, we want to be able to provide something. If they came from you, it's helpful. Somebody sat and they listened, or they came in contact with you and you're referring folks over to us. Something that just makes it an easy transition, easy way to get started. Almost dip your toe in the water, and then you can see the other things that we have to offer. And so exclusively here, I mean, at this point, we're not offering this to one-off operators when we have conversations, right? And just from a cost of we're a business too, cost of acquisition, we all have to play in we have to make money. And we have a pretty unique model, and that we only take generally a very small fee ranging from, it's like $1.60 up to $4.50, depending on the type of facility. You know, whether I'm just a standalone skating rink, I'm a full-blown FEC. And we would only take a flat fee. It doesn't matter what we do for you, but we only take that fee on success. So if we ended up, whether you hooked up your emails and we sent out 100,000 emails, which is a thing, you know, we've got some clients with 500,000 emails. You go to, you know, MailChimp and Constant Contact, you're going to pay over $1,000 for email list that size, right? And you play that flat rate regardless if it works. We operate on a model where you pay only upon redemption, only when somebody actually physically comes in the door and redeems. Even if you're not open, you can transact business with us. You can make money. That money goes into your bank account. That's cash flow for you right away. And you only pay us when that customer feels confident in coming in, and you keep all the breakage. So we already feel confident. This is a fantastic offering out of the gates.
Yeah.
And so just so people are aware, right, traditionally how this works. And so if you know, maybe you were a FetchRev customer and maybe you canceled in the past, right? That's totally fine. You know, maybe you've heard about Hound, but you've never pulled the trigger. If you reference, you come from the link here that we're going to go ahead and provide. We're going to go ahead and give you, and time is of the essence. We're going to give you the website pop-up. It sits on top of your website, overlays on top. It provides a buy now call to action, purchase any promotional value that you want, and it completely free to you. And so what happens is you got to pay merchant processing fees. You know, you got to pay Stripe. Don't gripe about it. It's just, you know, online merchant processing fees.
Yep.
We're not getting into a piece of that. But that money will go flowing right into your bank account, completely paid for. So you pay for that, but you don't have to pay that redemption fee. So when somebody actually comes in and they buy that gift card or that package or that value add, they bring it in and they're redeeming it. It's free. And any promotion that you sell from now till the end of the year will not carry any price tag on it. So it's a value add we're able to provide to folks that you refer over to us. It's a no-brainer. Please do it. And I say that because I want you guys to make money, and I've seen it so many times. And what you get is you don't even have to design this or spend any time yourself. You sign up for it. You're going to have a quick engagement call with one of our team members. They're going to talk through best practices based off what you're offering and what other people who have already found success in past years and even today. And they're going to craft a custom offering for you. It's going to be on your website within minutes, and you're going to be making money from it, right? It's a great offering. And we're happy to offer it, you know, and you want to go ahead and expand from there, you're more than welcome to, but it's one of the most no-brainers I can come up with.
It really is. And I will say, you know, time is of the essence, you know. I mean, over the next, you know, week to 10 days as this podcast comes out, our email promotes it. You know, you to get in and get it done and be ready for, you know, Black Friday, I think would be ideal for anybody listening. And you know, to be able to sell for 6 weeks between Thanksgiving and the New Year's, have that cash flowing directly to you, not having a redemption fee, and you see if it works. I mean, I think that's what's beautiful about this company is you know, you're going to pay if they perform, and if they don't, then, but they will perform. I mean, the best practices that they have, and they have such a wide scope of businesses that they work with, not only in our industry, but in adjacent industries, that they can pull on and say, look, we've seen that if you do this offer versus this offer, you're going to have this much more uptake and click through and value and money flowing your direction. So can't recommend you guys high enough. Look forward to seeing the success of this program through FunSpot and in partnership with Hound. And then again, you know, there are multiple other offerings that can bring value in the new year. So Kyle, thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Any parting thoughts, comments?
Parting thoughts and comments.
I know I put you on the spot there.
What do how do you normally end these?
I just say, hey, thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks.
Today. So.
You know, here, parting words, right? However, you know, what I'll say is, I always look to people that are out there trying to help others first, right? And so, Scott, I count you among the many who are out there helping others first and asking for something in return, if at any, on the back end, only if there's a fit. Refer anybody to you because you're just a good human being. And after, you know, the years of getting to know you, it's been fantastic. I'll put myself out there. If you have any questions, right? About best practices. Hey, we kind of want to figure out how to do some of this ourselves. Listen, I'm happy to give you some quick advice on best practices, or if you have questions, even if it's not Hound related, ranging from whether it's selling. I've been in sales for the last 10 years, software sales, inside sales, whether it's group events, CRM, whether it's how can I be better at collecting data. There's so many unique use cases on how you can be better at collecting data if you're struggling with it, or if it's just I don't know what to run or how to package something. If you have any questions, I'm happy to put myself out there and be a source of knowledge in those areas. I've developed an expertise on it, so happy to help you. And you can reach out to me personally, Kyle Stremme at gmail.com, right? It doesn't have to be Hound related, just putting it out there in the world. If you have questions,
Right.
you need anything, I'm here for you.
Thank
And we're going to get through it. We're
you.
going to get through this thing.
We are together. Yeah. Thanks. Well, thanks again. Again, always a pleasure chatting with you, and I'm sure we'll get to connect here real soon. So with that, I'll just say thank you for listening to Tuesday Town Hall, the Adventure Park podcast, and we'll see you next Tuesday.